everybody. Hello. Good evening. Good evening. Well, I have just finished testifying. I answered every one of their questions as fully as I could, based on what I knew, and what I knew is what I said in my statement this morning. I never met Jeffrey Epstein, never had any connection or communication with him. I knew Ghislaine Maxwell casually as an acquaintance, but whatever they asked me, I did my very best to respond. It was disappointing that they refused to hold a public hearing, so I wouldn't have to be out here characterizing it for you. You could have seen it for yourself. We had asked for that. We think it would have been better for the committee and its efforts to gather whatever information they are seeking. We had a bit of a challenge in the beginning because we had agreed upon rules based on the fact it was going to be a closed hearing at their demand, and one of the members violated that rule, which was very upsetting because it suggested that they might violate other of our agreements. So we had to cease the hearing for a period of time until we could get assurances that no rules would be broken going forward, and we returned to answer questions repetitively, literally over and over again. I don't know how many times I had to say I did not know Jeffrey Epstein. I never went to his island. I never went to his homes. I never went to his offices. So it's on the record numerous times. At the end, quite unusual, because I started being asked about UFOs and a series of questions about Pizzagate, one of the most vile, bogus conspiracy theories that was propagated on the internet, that was serving as the basis of a member's questions to me. So I can only say that the best exchange that I had came at the very end, when, contrary to every other deposition they have taken, no Republican member asked any questions about Jeffrey Epstein or Ghislaine Maxwell to anyone else they have deposed. And in fact, the Republican members didn't even show up for the deposition of Les Wexner.
And how have you been personally preparing for the deposition that is coming tomorrow? Are you 100% confident that there isn't anything that the former president knows about Epstein's crimes?
I am, and I think the chronology of the connection that he had with Epstein ended several years before anything about Epstein's criminal activities came to light, and that he was charged and sadly given a sweetheart deal, which, as I said in my statement, had that not happened, perhaps his predatory behavior could have been stopped earlier. Hello, everybody. Hello. Good evening. Well, I have just finished testifying. I answered every one of their questions as fully as I could, based on what I knew, and what I knew is what I said in my statement.
Yeah, that's it. That's the one.
That's her for
sure. Yeah, that's it.
I thought it was very repetitive. I thought that they asked literally the same questions over and over again, which didn't seem to me to be very productive. And then, as I said, toward the end, there were other questions that were totally off subject. So if they are going to fulfill their responsibilities to literally investigate the investigations, which is what they originally said was the scope of their work, I think they could have spent the day more productively. I don't know when the video will be out. I don't know when the transcript will be out. We've asked that they be out as quickly as possible, and then you can see everything. Thank you.
Our deposition has concluded. It's a shame that it took 7 months to get Ms. Clinton in. She answered most of our questions. I'm going to let some of my colleagues lament on that, but we're going to not release too many details of what happened today. We're going to try to get the video out as quickly as possible, hopefully within the next 24 hours. That's a very long deposition, so as quick as we can get that video produced, we will get that out. The transcript will be released as soon as her attorneys approve it. That's the standard rules of a deposition, and I think that this was a productive deposition today. I think we learned a lot.
I would just say one of the things I learned today is if you really have specific questions about the Clinton Global Initiative or the relationship between the Clintons and Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell, you got to ask Bill Clinton.
And that's a great point. The number of times that she said, "I don't know, you'll have to ask my husband," was more than a dozen.
As she was here today, she took every question from every single member. I want to thank my colleagues on both sides of the aisle, Republicans and Democrats alike, for being here today and asking questions. I very much look forward to speaking to her husband, former President Bill Clinton, tomorrow. We have a lot of...
Trump has answered hundreds, if not thousands, of questions from you all about Epstein, and I think he's been very transparent in releasing the documents. We expect hopefully more documents to come in. We're still assessing the 3 million plus documents that we have.
And the other person we want to talk to is current President Donald Trump. And so we should be very clear that now that we're going to hear from former President Clinton, I hope that Chairman Comer and the Republicans will join us in demanding that the person who actually appears more times in the files than the former president, who we want to speak with, is President Donald Trump. And so let's get President Trump in front of our committee to answer the questions that are being asked across this country from survivors and from those who have been brutally attacked and raped, sometimes as children.
The hearing just went off the record for a moment because it seems, as some of you may have seen, that there were some photographs shared on social media, which is against chamber rules that were read at the top of the meeting. So the hearing has been paused briefly while they figure out where the photo came from and why possibly members of Congress are violating House rules. So we'll keep you updated. We just wanted to share what's happening inside. Thank you.
The page is shared from inside.
If you look on your Twitter feed, you know where it came from?
It came from Benny Johnson. He said Lauren Boebert gave it to him.
Yeah, look at Benny Johnson's feed. Good? We'll be back. Thank you, sir.
Being reprimanded by Chairman Comer for that? No, there was no reprimanding. There was no violating. No rules violated?
What stood out to you, Congresswoman, from the deposition so far?
Well, I mean, I really admired her police suit, so I wanted to capture that for everyone.
Anything else that she said?
Why did you send the picture?
Why not?
Are you staying for the rest of the deposition? Are you coming back? Were you kicked out of the deposition?
Fake news people. Oh my God. You get paid money to ask those stupid questions? Oh my God.
I'll be back. The day's not over.
And repeat after me.
Urge Russia and the other states to press ahead with it.
播报新闻是我的日常，必须时刻保持妆容和皮肤的最佳状态。当来到人生中最重要的时刻，也是 KS 逆时奇迹帮助我轻松驾驭，闪闪发光。KS 逆时奇迹活肤露全效精华、精华霜，多达5种 EGF 6大冻龄关键成分，保湿效果让我非常满意，小细纹也不再困扰我。我就是我自己的最佳女主角 ，KS 让我从容自信、光彩动人。我是我人生中的大女主，我的最爱我做主。KS 逆时奇迹系列热卖中，下单请上快点购。透过中天新闻网 App 下单立减50，或输入 CTI 推荐码有额外折扣。